This morning, Chinese state media reports President Xi Jinping has invited Russia's President Vladimir Putin to an event in China later this year for an international forum called the Belt and Road Initiative. Putin attended both of the previous forums held by China in 2017 and 2019. This comes as the two leaders hold a second round of meetings today in Moscow. Look at that. Joining us now, National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications at the White House, retired Rear Admiral John Kirby. Kirby, I assume, Admiral, that the White House is watching this closely. What is the White House's response to this meeting so far?
Yeah, we've been monitoring the best we can. Of course, we're not in the room, so we can't tell exactly what these two leaders are talking about. And we made it very clear last week, Mika, that one of the things that we'd be concerned coming out of this two-day meeting is some sort of call for a ceasefire, because we believe that would just at this time ratify Russia's conquest. And we've also been very clear that while these two nations can certainly have bilateral relations, we don't view this discussion or this burgeoning closeness of these two countries as anything more than a marriage of convenience. President Xi finds in President Putin a useful foil for chafing or bristling or pushing back at U.S. leadership around the world, certainly on the European continent. President Putin needs President Xi because he's running out of ammunition. He's running out of the kind of inventory that he needs to continue to fight this war, and it's likely that he's going to be looking for more help from China.
Admiral, President Xi and the Chinese government claim to have brought with them to Moscow a proposal for a resolution in the conflict of Ukraine. President Putin said yesterday he viewed that with respect, whatever that means exactly. Do you believe that China, do you believe that President Xi has the power to influence Vladimir Putin over Ukraine?
He certainly has influence over President Putin. There's no question about that, because you can just see how aggressively President Putin has been seeking President Xi's approval and President Xi's assistance in helping him fight this war in Ukraine. Whether he has that much influence over President Putin, I think remains to be seen. I will say this, Willie. To date, President Putin has shown absolutely zero interest in ending this war, and he could end it today. We don't even have to go to the negotiating table. He just pull his troops out. Shown no interest in doing that. Quite the contrary. He continues to bomb innocent Ukrainian citizens, continues to deport their children, continues to strike at their civilian infrastructure. So he has shown no indication. We're judging him on his actions, not his words. And
in fact, just visited Mariupol to reinforce that Russia is in this for the long haul. So if not the influence of President Xi, if not the influence of China on President Putin, where do you all view this headed? Where do you view an off-ramp as an overused term, but a way for this war to end if Vladimir Putin, frankly, just isn't listening to anybody?
Well, given that he's not going to pull out and end the war today, we all want to see this end as quickly as possible. The Ukrainians themselves would like to see this war end, of course, as soon as possible. So we're going to keep working with President Zelensky to help him actualize this idea of a just peace. You saw him put something out, a 10-point proposal out in the summertime about that. We're going to help him and his team see if there's a way to actualize that. But also, we're going to make sure that we are teeing him up, Zelensky, for success at the negotiating table if and when it comes to that. We just announced another package of support yesterday, mostly ammunition, missiles and artillery ammunition to help them in the fighting that's to come. And make no mistake about it, Willie, for all this talk about peace and ceasefire, President Putin is making every intention known that he is going to restart offensive operations here in the spring when the weather gets better. We got to make sure the Ukrainians are ready for that, ready to defend themselves, but also ready to go on the offense themselves.
Admiral Kirby, let's talk about this friendship, this lasting friendship between China and Russia. You know, when you first look at it, you would say, well, what helps or what hurts the United States helps China. And so maybe this war, maybe some people might say, well, this is hurting the United States. But it's actually, isn't it hurting China more? Isn't peace in China's best interest? You look at the GDP of the United States, of Europe, the EU, of Japan, of Australia, of all of the people on our side in this conflict. It's over $50 trillion a year. Yeah. You look at China's, it's $17 trillion. You look at Russia's, it's less than Texas by a good chunk. So how does this help China for this war to continue if they're going up against the richest, most powerful countries on the planet, and their economy is sagging.
No, you're absolutely right, Joe, and you really hit on a key point here. China's in a difficult spot, right? They would like to see this war end, too, because they don't want to see Russia go down in flames over Ukraine. They see Russia as a useful foil for American leadership elsewhere around the world. And that's the only reason why this relationship is persisting the way it is. President Xi sees President Putin as a helpful aid in pushing back on the West. So he doesn't want to see Russia lose. He doesn't want to see the war go on. And he's trying to balance this competing need, which is why, if you look at China's position, Joe, they haven't condemned the war, but they haven't provided lethal weapons. They haven't enforced the sanctions. They're still buying Russian oil and that kind of thing, but they haven't really enforced the sanctions. And even a few months ago, you might recall at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting, President Xi publicly upbraided President Putin on the way he's executing the war. And he publicly criticized President Putin's nuclear rhetoric, the bombastic talk that Putin's put out there about the potential use for nuclear weapons. So President Xi finds himself in this weird position, wanting the war to end, but not wanting Russia to lose.
Hey, Admiral, good morning. Jonathan Lemire. Speaking of ammunition, as you know, as you just said, Russia hoping China will supply them with some lethal military aid. But give us an update, if you will, about where Ukraine's munitions currently stand. They had really been sounding the alarm in recent weeks that they didn't have the weaponry, the supplies, and perhaps even the manpower needed to launch this spring counteroffensive. Can you give us a sense as to where they are right now on the eve of what could be this assault?
Well, we're all mindful that they are working through their inventory at a pretty fast clip here, particularly in the Donbass and this fighting over Bakhmut. We also recognize that if they're going to be able to adequately defend themselves in the spring, let alone or yet again go on the offense, they're going to need more. And that's why you saw in the package that President Biden signed out yesterday, more rocket systems, more artillery rounds, more obstacle clearing equipment, the kinds of things that we think they're going to need in the spring, in the fighting in the weeks and months ahead. So we're mindful of their inventory concerns. We're also marshaling ours as well to make sure we can preserve our national security interests. And we're working with allies and partners, and this is a key point, for them to help backfill some of these inventory needs that the Ukrainians have. We know it's going to be a tough spring, that both sides are going to come out slugging, and we got to make sure that the Ukrainians can continue to punch above their weight.
So the Poles are helping. Obviously, Poland sent some MiGs over there. Question is, when can we get F-16s over to help the Ukrainians? And I've got to ask you a question that I asked Hillary Clinton when we were in Abu Dhabi, and she didn't have the answer, but I'm sure you will. Why does it take 2 years to get Abrams tanks over to Ukraine to help the Ukrainians push back against Russian aggression? And how can we speed that up?
Okay, so two things here: F-16s and tanks, very, very different systems. The president's been clear that for right now we're not looking at F-16s to go to Ukraine. We are really, Joe, trying to prioritize on the kinds of systems that we know they're really going to need the most in the weeks and months ahead, and that's artillery, it's ammunition, it's air defense, and of course it's armored capabilities. Okay, so that gets us to your question about tanks, because that's armored capability. The Pentagon's working as fast as they can, and I think they'll have more to say here soon about adjustments they're making to try to see if we can get Abrams tanks to Ukraine a little bit faster than previously expected. So we're working on that. There's some changes that you can make to the process to sort of speed that up. And again, I'll let the Pentagon speak to that. But one of the things you got to consider with that is, I mean, these are very sophisticated tanks. First of all, we don't have a whole heck of a lot of them just sitting on the shelf. And to learn how to use that tank takes a lot of training. Just for instance, the basic training on the Abrams tanks for American soldiers is 16 weeks long, and that's just the basic training on how to operate it. Then you have to know how to maintain it, and then you have to have a supply chain set up to actually keep the parts and supplies going while you're in combat, while you're fighting, and while these tanks are no doubt going to be taking some hits. So there's a lot that has to be considered. When we get them an advanced system, Patriot system is a good example for that, Joe. They just finished up training, Ukrainians training on the Patriot battery in Fort Sill a couple of weeks ago. But when you get an advanced system like that in place, you want it to fall on ready hands. You want it to fall on a ready supply system and a supply chain that can handle it while it's being used in combat. And so that's what we're focused on.
National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications at the White House, retired Rear Admiral John Kirby. Thank you very much.